96 days to go and 19 until the gavel drops at the Democratic National Convention. This is the morning Kamala Harris continues to surge, pulling ahead in the critical swing states. The simple truth of this moment in time is that a few weeks ago, Donald Trump was headed back to the Oval Office. Donald Trump was in complete command of the race. The Democrats were flat on their back, delusional, done for. But now Kamala Harris has breathed a new life, and it is Donald Trump who is on his heels. Fortunes can turn quickly in politics. 3 weeks is an eternity. If the election were tonight, nobody in America could rightly say who was going to win. But that wasn't the case not so long ago. It is the Democrats that have the momentum. Kamala Harris, when she speaks to America, is communicating an optimistic vision, and her crowd looks like America. These people are not menacing, they are not scowling, and they're not weird. Let's talk about weirdness. Vivek Ramaswamy is weird, and so is Ted Cruz. And I can show you 1,000 examples of weirdness. The clips are everywhere. 9 years of weirdness being projected as normalcy. The simple truth is, I don't wish any harm or bad things to happen to the people who decided to gaze at Trump adoringly with their ears bandaged at the Republican National Committee. I wish them long and happy lives, but absolutely, I think they're weird. And 100%, I would never hire any of those people. And number two, I would never, and I mean never, allow for them to hold political power. And thank God I have a vote. We get a vote on this. All of this madness. Donald Trump delivered a 93-minute convention speech that was the strangest and weirdest in all of American history. J.D. Vance wants to wage war. He wants to be a wartime vice president. And the war he wants to wage is an idea war about the idea that America's women could choose to be unmarried, could choose to not have children. He wants to wage war on that idea. Does that seem strange to you, that this is his focus? This is his passion? That the misery of women, according to J.D. Vance, is that they become cat ladies without producing children? It's oddball and it's strange, but it's not a new idea. Where does that idea come from? It comes from the foundation of nationalism, specifically white nationalism in America, or fascism as it was understood in the 1930s. This idea is a Nazi idea. Let me tell you about the Lebensborn program, the Nazi program that encouraged women to have as many Aryan children as possible. That's what this is about. It's blood and soil nationalism. That's why every fascist has a version of this. It's why Putin has kidnapped scores of thousands of Ukrainian children. It's why Himmler adopted the Lebensborn program. It's why J.D. Vance and Viktor Orban talk about this issue. It's a dogma of control that they believe in. They will control your life in the name of freedom. Freedom meaning agency for white men to do as they please in the name of the state. It's fascism. The word fascist is something that there's a lot of trepidation in the American news media with using. That's unfortunate, because these people are fascists and they should be known and called by their name. But fascists, as they have developed, can be sinister, they can be comical, but yes, weird. Hermann Goring was weird. A lot of the Nazi hierarchy was extremely weird. When you accumulate weirdness and put it together, it can take on a sinister sheen, because what J.D. Vance has a lot of is grievance and anger and resentments against all sorts of people. And some of those people are women. Apparently, this is an election of firsts. We have the first Black woman of South Asian descent to be the leader of the Democratic ticket, and J.D. Vance is the first incel to be the vice presidential nominee. At any rate, last night, events occurred that will shape the American election dramatically. The evil leader of Hamas was assassinated in Tehran on the occasion of the new Iranian president's inauguration. Let all people of goodwill and peace rejoice. Good riddance. He was a monster. But the war in the Middle East is escalating. Israel has lost territory. A vast section of its north is uninhabitable. 80,000 Israelis have been displaced. An American carrier group is steaming towards the coast of Lebanon. There is enough time left in this election where events that have not yet occurred could be determinative. We live in a time of growing international crisis, domestic chaos, and instability. We are in the middle of a messy Democratic season. But make no mistake, what you're witnessing in the Democratic Party is democracy. The Democratic voters let their voices be known, and they were heard. And what has occurred is an unleashing of enthusiasm and joy because a good-natured person has competently stepped forward, taken command, and told the American people that our future is not all division and recrimination and violence and command and control at the hands of a messianic cult. What Kamala Harris offers is a continuity of Americanism, of liberty for all of us, freedom for all of us, choice for all of us, good judgment in times of crisis, not insanity on the best of days. J.D. Vance, who was Donald Trump's pick, or more precisely Don Jr.'s, is a very weird person, fronting an even weirder movement that should never have political power or control over anything. We have a weirdo pack that has come together and decided to impose their vision of Sharia law on the rest of us. Whatever the nature of their extremism, the overwhelming majority of the people in this country don't want it. Overwhelming majority of people in this country see this woman with the bandage on her ear and think she's a fucking idiot. And she is. Here's the thing. That doesn't mean she can't be a nice person, a good lady, great at her job, but she lacks judgment. She lacks wisdom. And she should never be a decision maker about anything to do with life and death issues. Let's stop pretending that the dumbest amongst us are geniuses, that the weirdest amongst us are normal, the most depraved amongst us are virtuous, and the rottenest amongst us are good. Let's elect a competent lady to be the president of the United States over two weirdos with anger and rage animating their movement. America can surely do better than this. It is a party of Marjorie Taylor Greenes. And the only way to get rid of these people in America is to defeat them at the ballot box. And maybe the Republican soul is so convinced of Trump's might and righteousness that they will nominate him 3 or 4 more times. Who knows? But whenever the question is raised, do we want to stop living in America? Do we want to give away our freedoms? Do we want to surrender control of our lives to these guys? The answer must always be no. When this is defeated, and it will be, the country will start to be able to move forward and start planning for the future. We'll start to recognize the visionaries amongst us again. We'll start to see the waypoints out ahead where possibility and better can be achieved and realized. The country can do extraordinary things, great things. But for a lot of different reasons, it took a 10-year detour into a forest of crazy. Now we're coming out of that forest, and we need to make sure that we never enter it again. 96 days, the last polls will close. The election will have ended. Question for the American voter, all of us collectively. is, are we going to hand the lethal needle to this weirdo pack? I say no. I hope you say no. And I hope you will tell every person that you do know that the answer must be no, 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 and no. Because we are Americans. And Americans are free people. And free people are not accompanied into their doctor's rooms, into their priest's confessional, into the shul, into their bedrooms by their politicians. No. And the way you say no is by voting yes for big change. Kamala Harris for President of the United States. This is The Warning. I'm Steve Schmidt. This is The Warning, and I invite you to subscribe on our Substack, on our YouTube channel. Follow us. Welcome to the community.